Welcome, friend. If you found your way here, you're probably looking for rest, for a moment of peace, for something slow and gentle and quietly interesting to lull you into sleep. You're in the right place. This is Sleepy History, the channel, where stories move at a whisper, where nothing is rushed, and where history is told the way it was lived, slowly, softly, and full of ordinary beauty. Tonight, we're stepping through the crooked door of a medieval tavern, not to drink or shout, but to sit, to listen, to breathe in the smell of roasting meat, old wood, and firelight, to hear the crackle of the hearth, the quiet voices of strangers, the soft sigh of a sleeping dog. We'll take our time. No battles, no kings. Just the quiet life that filled the spaces between the pages of history books. So go ahead, get cozy. Pull up a blanket. Let your eyes grow heavy. And if you enjoy this kind of slow, sleepy storytelling, subscribe and make yourself a regular at our quiet little inn. We're always here. Now, let's slip back in time to a quiet evening in a medieval tavern. It begins with a walk. The sun has almost disappeared, leaving behind only a soft orange glow on the edge of the sky. The world is quiet now, settling into the stillness of evening. You walk slowly down an old path, cobbled and cracked, with tufts of grass growing between the stones. The sound of your footsteps echoes faintly in the cool evening air. On either side, small cottages sleep beneath sloped, thatched roofs. Their chimneys send up thin trails of smoke that drift and twist, carrying the scent of firewood and something warm cooking inside. The smell reminds you of stew and of bread that's just starting to brown. A dog barks once far away, then falls quiet again. You pass a twisted oak tree, its bare branches scratching the dusk sky. Beneath it, a wooden cart leans on one broken wheel, forgotten. A crow hops along its rim and watches you without sound. Nearby, a lantern swings gently on a crooked post, its candle flickering like it's trying to stay awake. The air grows colder as you walk. Your breath becomes visible small clouds that rise and disappear. You pull your cloak tighter, grateful for the layers, and press on. Soon, you hear something. Faint, distant, a low hum, the soft clink of mugs, the quiet sound of voices, not loud, just present. Then you see it. At the end of the road, where the path dips, there's a building lit from inside. Its small windows shine like golden eyes in the darkness. That's the tavern, the place you've been walking toward. Not a castle, not a battlefield, just a quiet spot where the world slows down and waits. Let's go inside. You step a little closer now. At first, the building doesn't seem like much. Just a lopsided wooden structure sitting quietly at the edge of the village. It looks tired, as though it has been standing for many, many years. Its timbers are old and darkened, not from paint, but from weather, from smoke, and from time. The walls lean slightly inward, as if the tavern is trying to hold itself together through the coming night. Above the door hangs a swinging sign. It creaks gently on rusty hinges, swaying in the wind. The picture on it is hard to see, faded and chipped from rain and sun. You think it might be a boar, or maybe a stag. Someone long ago painted it with care, but now it's more memory than image. Still, it does its job. It says, "This is a place to rest." The windows are small and made of warped, bubbled glass. The kind that doesn't let you see clearly, only lets in soft, trembling light. But behind them you can see the warm flicker of fire. It dances like candlelight on a wall, moving slow and gentle. A hint of laughter escapes through the cracks low like a whisper. You notice the smell. Smoke from the chimney above, a little sourness in the air ale maybe, and something roasting. Your stomach tightens slightly with interest. It's been a long walk. You feel the warmth calling you from behind that crooked door. A horse snorts nearby, tied to a post. Its saddle is worn, its eyes half closed. Even the animals here are sleepy. The tavern doesn't demand your attention. It simply waits like it always has, for someone to come in from the cold. You step forward and reach for the door. The door is heavier than it looks. Your hand finds the old iron handle, cold and rough beneath your fingers. The wood is thick, the surface marked with scratches and stain stories left behind by countless travelers before you. You give a slow push, and the hinges groan, creaking in a long, sleepy sigh. Warmth greets you instantly. Not just heat from the fire, but a feeling thick, quiet, and familiar. It wraps around your shoulders like a blanket. The air smells like wood smoke and cooked meat. There's a hint of damp wool and something sharp, maybe onions. It's not fresh, but it's honest. You step inside and let the door fall closed behind you. The room is dim. There are no bright lanterns here, just the soft glow of firelight from a stone hearth on the far wall and a few thick candles flickering slowly in their holders. Shadows dance along the floor and across the low ceiling, making everything feel gentle and alive. The floor is made of stone and wood, uneven, a little sticky in places. Bits of straw are scattered around like the floor itself has stories to tell. You hear the soft scrape of a chair being pulled out, a quiet laugh, and the dull clink of a wooden mug on a table. No one looks up when you enter. That's the way of places like this. Strangers come and go. All are welcome, but few are noticed. You take it in this world of worn beams, thick smells, and sleepy voices. It feels like you've stepped not just into a building, but into another time. One that moves slower, softer. This is not a place to be loud. This is a place to breathe and to rest. The smells in the tavern are rich and layer-doled and familiar, like a book that's been read too many times but never thrown away. The strongest scent is wood smoke, thick and heavy, rising from the hearth at the back of the room. It clings to the ceiling beams, to the clothes of the people sitting near the fire, and to the very air itself. Beneath that, there is something sharp vinegar maybe, pickled onions or cabbage. It's sour but not unpleasant. It gives the place a tang, something that cuts through the heaviness and makes your stomach shift with interest. Your body recognizes the smell before your mind does. You're hungry. And then something sweeter, a roast. Meat sizzling over an open flame. You hear it now. The slow, rhythmic hiss of fat dripping onto hot coals. It sizzles, flares, and sends out tiny bursts of scent that drift across the room. Is it goose? Or maybe pork? You can't tell for certain. But it's roasting in its own juices, and the smell wraps around you like a promise. There's a background hum of other things too. Old ale, soaked into the wooden tables, damp straw on the floor, wet wool drying by the fire. Somewhere in the mix is the faint scent of something, herbal thyme or rosemary, perhaps stewed in a bundle and forgotten behind the hearth. It isn't clean, not in the modern sense, but it's deeply human, alive. This is the smell of life lived indoors after a long day outside, the smell of company, of heat, of comfort. You close your eyes, just for a moment, and breathe in. This is what welcome smells like. It creaks, almost shyly, beneath your weight-long boards worn smooth by countless feet. Some spots are raised slightly, others dip. No two steps feel the same. This floor remembers every traveler who has come before you. It carries their stories in its grain. Near the doorway, the wood is darkened by years of mud, melted snow, and spilled drinks. Bits of straw are scattered along the edges, caught in the corners where a broom never quite reaches. Here and there you spot small stains, maybe ale, maybe stew, maybe something older. Each mark is a quiet memory, left behind without fuss. As you step further in, your feet brush against something soft. A rush mat, perhaps woven straw meant to soak up the damp and keep the cold from biting too deeply. It shifts under you slightly, giving a small whisper of sound. You find a place to sight an old bench near the hearth. The seat groans beneath you. It wobbles just a little, as if testing your weight. You settle in slowly. The wood is hard, but not unfriendly. You lean back and rest your hands on the table's rough surface. Your eyes drop once more to the floor. In the dim firelight, it glows a deep brown touched by shadows and ash. A lone spoon lies forgotten near the wall. A scrap of linen flutters near your foot, maybe dropped by someone hours ago, or days. And yet, nothing feels out of place. This floor isn't dirty. It's lived in. It has held boots and paws, laughter and spilled secrets. It doesn't care who you are. It only asks that you sit for a while and let the night unfold at its own pace. So you do. It's the heart of the tavern's glowing center that pulls every eye and quiets every voice. The stones surrounding it are darkened by years of smoke and soot, cracked in places but still strong. A fire burns low and steady, not wild, but sure of itself. Logs shift softly now and then, sending up a tiny storm of sparks before settling back into glowing stillness. The flames dance lazily, licking at the blackened pot that hangs above. Inside, something simmers gently. You can't see what it is, but you can hear Ita, soft bubble, a pop, then a lull. Maybe a stew, maybe herbs and bones. It smells like thyme and patience. The warmth from the fire reaches you slowly. It wraps around your feet first, then your hands. Not too hot, just enough. It seeps into the wood beneath you and into the air you breathe. You feel it settle into your bones, steady and sure. Around the hearth, people sit quietly. No one speaks loudly. One man leans forward, elbows on his knees, watching the flames as if they're telling a story. A woman mends something in her lap, her needle flashing in the light. A child sleeps against her side, his face tucked into a soft bundle of cloth. A bundle of dried herbs hangs near the chimney lavender, maybe. It sways slightly in the heat, releasing a faint, calming scent. You could sit here for hours, and many probably do. Because the hearth doesn't just warm your body, it slows your thoughts. It hushes the world. It reminds you that you're safe, for now, and that sometimes firelight is all the company you need. The voices inside are softer than the fire, softer than the creaking of the wood. They rise and fall like gentle waves, blending together in a low hum that fills the room like music without a melody. It's the sound of comfort, of people who have nothing urgent to say and no reason to say it quickly. At a nearby table, an older man leans in close to another. His voice is slow, gravelly. You catch a word here and there, fields, weather, poor soil. The other man nods with quiet understanding, not interrupting, just listening. His fingers trace the rim of his mug, worn smooth by years of use. Farther back, a group of women talk softly while working on a net, perhaps for fishing or repairing a garment. One of them laughs not loudly, but like a soft chime in the background. You don't know the joke. You don't need to. The laugh is gentle and easy, like a bird settling onto a branch. Somewhere near the hearth, two men sit in silence. One drinks, the other watches the fire. No words pass between them, but their stillness speaks of long friendship, or perhaps just the comfort of shared quiet. A spoon clinks inside a clay bowl. A stool scrapes against the floor as someone shifts. A dog lets out a quiet sigh in its sleep. All of it is part of the same quiet song. No one rushes here. There are no arguments, no raised voices, just talk that meanders like a lazy river going nowhere in particular. You find yourself relaxing. The stillness wraps around you. You don't have to speak to belong. In this place, silence and softness are enough. Her steps are steady, not hurried. Her eyes sweep the room without rushing. She doesn't smile, but she's not unfriendly either. It's the kind of face that has seen every kind of traveler, from quiet farmers to loud soldiers, and treats them all the same. Her dress is simple faded linen with a long apron tied at the waist. The fabric is worn thin in some places, patched in others. A dark smudge of flour or grease marks one shoulder. Her sleeves are rolled up, and her arms show the strength of someone who lifts heavy pots and full jugs every day. In her hands, she carries a clay pitcher, worn smooth from use. It sloshes with ale as she makes her way from table to table, stopping only when needed. She doesn't ask what you want. She just knows. A nod here, a glance there, and the right mug is set down with a soft thump of pottery on wood. When she reaches your table, she doesn't speak. She meets your eyes just briefly with a look that says, "You're here now, you'll be fed, you'll be fine." She pours your drink slowly, carefully. Not a drop spills. Then she's off again, skirts brushing the floor, back into the low hum of the room. Behind her, the warmth lingers. She's part of the tavern as much as the fire or the creaking beams. Not someone people talk about, but someone they all depend on. She doesn't ask for thanks. She doesn't wait for praise. She's there because she always is. Because someone needs to be. And, in her quiet, measured way, she keeps the night moving forward. It's made of clay-thick walled, uneven, and hand-shaped. You can feel the tiny ridges where someone's fingers once pressed it into form. It's not pretty, but it's solid, dependable. The kind of mug meant to be used 100 times, not just looked at. The outside is rough and slightly warm from the ale inside. It smells of yeast and barley, with just the faintest hint of smoke like it's absorbed the fire from the hearth over many long nights. You bring it to your lips slowly. The taste is simple. A little sour, a little bitter, not sharp, just real, earthy. The kind of ale that fills the stomach more than it delights the tongue. It was likely brewed nearby, maybe even right here in the village, in some shaded back room with barrels and buckets and drying herbs strung from the beams. It doesn't matter that it's not sweet or spiced or special. What matters is the warmth that spreads as you swallow. It's not strong, not enough to make your head spin, just enough to take the edge off the cold in your chest, just enough to loosen the tension in your shoulders. You sip again, slower this time. You watch the small ripples move across the surface when you set the mug down. A soft clink. The wood beneath it soaks in a bit of moisture. A ring forms around the baisie, a quiet little halo gone in moments. No one raises their glass in a toast. No one shouts, "Cheers." This drink isn't for celebration. It's for stillness, for sitting, for watching the fire, for letting the night pass without needing to chase it. You lift the mug once more and drink in the peace. Across the room, near a crooked window, 3 farmers sit close together. Their hands are rough, dirt still deep in the lines of their fingers even now, long after the sun has set. One sharpens a small blade slowly, sliding it across a whetstone in patient strokes. Another chews on something hard, maybe an old crust of bread. The third says nothing, just stares at the table like it's telling him something only he can hear. At another table sits a traveling peddler. His coat is patched in too many places to count, each repair telling its own story. He opens a cloth roll and spreads it gently across the table. Inside are tiny treasures buttons made of horn and bone, a rusted thimble, a dull bronze brooch shaped like a bird. His fingers move softly over each item, as if remembering where he found it, or what he gave up to get it. He talks to no one in particular, only speaks under his breath, naming each item like a spell. 2 pence, found near the river, this one from a widow's chest. A few others sit farther back in the shadows. Their faces are half lit, half lost. A young couple, maybe. A man in a green cap who keeps one hand on a leather pouch at all times. A woman with wild hair who laughs into her mug now and then, even though no one seems to be talking to her. No one stares. No one intrudes. In this tavern, everyone is together and also entirely alone. Each person brings their own story, their own silence, and the tavern makes room for them all. It's not about knowing names. It's about sharing warmth without ever needing to speak. She's gray, with fur matted slightly from the damp air. Her eyes are half closed, golden slivers flickering in the firelight. She doesn't move much, just lifts her head once to blink at you, then curls tighter into her patch of warmth, tail wrapping like a question mark around her paws. The floor beneath her is warm, and that's all she needs. She's not a pet, not exactly. She belongs to no one, yet somehow to everyone. Near the door, on a thin piece of cloth that looks more whole than fabric, rests a dog. His coat is patchy and brown. One ear flops down while the other sticks up like it's still listening for something far off. He sleeps with his head on his paws, rising and falling with each breath. Now and then, his back leg twitches, perhaps chasing something in his dreams. Nobody tells them to leave. Nobody kicks them aside or shoos them out into the cold. They've been here longer than most of the guests. They're part of the tavern's soul. Quiet watchers, sleepy companions. Silent proof that this place, for all its rough walls and flickering candles, has space for gentleness. A chicken pecks near the fireplace, scratching its straw. You don't know how it got in. No one seems to mind. A boy tosses it a crumb from his crust. It clucks once, then continues its slow wander. The animals do not ask for anything. They take what the tavern gives: warmth, quiet, safety. They give in return the calmness that only simple creatures can carry. In their silence, they remind you, here, life doesn't need to be busy. Sometimes, it just needs to be warm and still. The ceiling is low, so low that taller folk have to duck as they walk beneath the beams. Thick timber stretches across the room, darkened with age and smoke. They sag slightly in the middle like tired shoulders that have carried the weight of 100 winters. Some are cracked. Others are marked with old carvings, a name here, a date there. Tiny stories etched into the very bones of the tavern. Dust hangs in the air near the ceiling, only visible when it catches the flicker of firelight. It drifts like slow-moving snow, undisturbed and peaceful. You spot cobwebs in the corner, soft, silver threads stretched between beam and beam. A spider waits silently in one, unmoving, as if it too has fallen into the rhythm of the room. Herbs hang from the rafters in neat bundles: lavender, rosemary, time-tied with string and left to dry. They add their scent gently to the tavern's thick air, weaving freshness into the smoke and ale. Some are faded brown, forgotten long ago. Others are still green, only just hung, their leaves curled at the edges. You imagine someone placing them there by hand, maybe the woman who served your drink, maybe someone else long gone now. You wonder if they were hung for their smell, or for luck, or just because that's what has always been done. Above the beams, the roof creaks. A soft, steady sound like a groan or a sigh. Maybe the wind touches the thatch from outside. Maybe it's just the old wood settling in for the night. There's comfort in the ceiling's low closeness. It holds the warmth inside, holds the world out. And it reminds you that this place wasn't built to impress. It was built to shelter. First, it's just a hint, a change in the air. The smoke from the fire, the sourness of old ale, the sharpness of onions, they all step back, and then comes something warm, something soft, something that speaks to a hunger older than speech. Bread. The smell drifts through the tavern like a gentle breeze. It smells of flour and salt, of stone and ash. But more than that, it smells like home, like safety, like mornings that came after hard nights. You breathe deeper, without even thinking. From behind a curtain near the back, someone emerges holding a wooden tray. On it sit several small loaves round, golden, cracked at the top where the crust split open in the heat of the oven. Steam curls from their surface like sighs from sleeping mouths. The woman carrying the tray walks slowly. Each step releases another wave of that warm scent into the air. Heads turn not with urgency, but with quiet hope. Even those who are dozing lift their eyes. She sets the tray down on the bar. A knife appears, thick and worn. One loaf is cut, and you hear the soft crunch of the crust breaking. The inside is revealed dense, steaming, uneven, and perfect. A slice makes its way to your table. You don't rush. You take it in your hands, still hot to the touch. The crust is rough. The inside is soft, slightly sticky. You tear a piece and bring it to your mouth. It tastes like heat, like grain, like someone's care. In that bite, everything slows even more. You realize, in a place like this, bread is not just food. It's comfort. It's memory. It's kindness served. Warm and simple. There's no grand announcement, no crowd gathering around him, but slowly the nearby tables grow quieter. A few heads tilt in his direction. Not because they're expecting excitement, but because they've seen this before. A traveler, a story, a voice worth listening to, if only for a little while. He's older, with a thick cloak draped over one shoulder and boots crusted in dried mud. His beard is patchy, his hands cracked. One eye is slightly swollen, perhaps from a blow or just from wind and time. He speaks slowly, like every word is something he's carried a long way. Saw a shipwreck, he says. That's all at first. No drama, no gesture, just the quiet weight of the sentence dropping into the stillness. He goes on. A storm had come in from the west. The sea had been calm the day before, but by nightfall, the waves were the height of trees. He watched from a cliffside, heard the cracking of wood in the darkness. In the morning, the shore was covered in splinters, barrels, rope, a boot with no foot in it. No one interrupts. No one laughs or claps or leans in too far. They just listen. He doesn't make himself the hero. He didn't save anyone. He didn't fight anything. He just watched and then walked away. But somehow that makes the story deeper, sadder, real. His voice is low, almost monotone. But his pauses speak loudly. And between each word there's space for the room to breathe, for the fire to crackle, for the bread to cool. When he finishes, no one says a word, not even a murmur. And that silence is its own kind of applause. Thick candles burn on the tables, their bases planted in iron holders shaped like twisted vines. The wax is honey-colored, and each candle burns slowly, patiently, like it has all night to give. Some tilt a little in their stands. One has a small stream of wax that has begun to drip down the side and puddle at the base like a frozen waterfall. The flames are soft, not sharp, like torches, or wild, like bonfires. They dance just enough to keep the shadows moving. Their glow is golden, and gentle, and it touches everything it can reach. The curves of mugs, the folds in old coats, the fingertips of those resting their hands on the table. Faces in this light look different, softer. The lines blur, wrinkles seem less deep, eyes gleam not brightly but with a quiet shine. Even the wooden beams above seem less heavy under the warm breath of the flames. A moth flutters near one of the candles. It circles slowly, drawn in by the warmth. No one shoos it away. It's just another guest uninvited but accepted. In the corner, a candle burns lower than the others. Its wick leans into its final stretch, a tiny flickering struggle against the pull of wax and air. You watch it dim for a moment, then flare back up, determined to hold on just a little longer. This light doesn't try to chase away the dark. It simply coexists with it, offering enough glow to see the next step, the next sip, the next breath. And in that gentle glow, everything feels slower, quieter, softer. As if the world for once isn't trying to shine, it's just trying to stay lit. Instead, they come in wave-soft, steady, always shifting. The smoke is still there, of course. It clings to everything, the floor, the walls, your clothes. It's no longer something you notice sharply. It's simply the air now. It smells like warmth, like wood and time. But other scents have started to rise. They come quietly, drifting from corners, from pots, from people's coats and cloaks. A faint musk of damp wool mixed with old leather, worn and cracked. The smell of horses outside, their breath steaming in the night air, sneaks in through the small gaps around the door. There's a new scent now, toe at earth. Someone must have just come in. Their boots tracked in mud, maybe bits of wet leaves from the road. It smells like the forest, like the edge of rain, and it blends into the tavern's warmth as though it belongs. From the hearth, the stew continues to bubble gently. The scent of onions has softened, now mixed with herbs, thyme, sage, maybe a hint of garlic. It floats slowly through the room, light as mist. Not strong, not spicy, just steady, comforting. A trace of beeswax from the burning candles curls through the air, sweet and clean, balanced by the sour tang of old ale soaked deep into the tables. Together, the smells don't compete. They don't argue. They settle together like old neighbors, like memories stacked quietly on top of each other. You breathe in again, deeply, slowly. It's not the scent of anything grand or royal. It's the scent of people, of time, of life sitting still in the warmth of a single, ordinary room. It's small, no bigger than a loaf of bread, and the glass is thick and uneven, full of little bubbles and waves that make the world outside blur like a dream. It's held in place by thin strips of lead and a wooden frame worn soft by time. Through it, you can see the night. The sky is deep and endless black, but not empty. Faint stars glimmer high above, scattered like tiny ashes blown across velvet. There's no moon tonight, only the soft glow of the stars and the reflection of the tavern's fire bouncing faintly off the glass. Beyond the glass, the village is still. There are no shouts, no carts rolling by, just shadows, just quiet. The dirt path you walked earlier is now almost invisible, swallowed by the dark. But you remember it. You know it's there. A breeze moves gently through the air outside. It stirs the bare branches of the trees, and you hear them scratch against one another, soft wooden whispers, like nature is speaking in its sleep. A few dry leaves scuttle across the ground. A thin mist has begun to creep in, low and pale, hugging the edges of the road. Somewhere in the distance, an owl calls out low and slow. It echoes once, then again, then silence. Inside the tavern, the warmth holds steady. But the window reminds you that the world beyond is still out there, cold, dark, and waiting. And yet, there is no fear in the view. Just stillness. Just night being night. You feel no need to go back out. Not yet. Here, inside, the fire glows. The candle burns. The stories unfold. And outside, the dark waits, patiently soft, unhurried, and undisturbed. The voices in the tavern begin to fade not all at once, but like the tide going out, a story ends, a spoon is set down, a laugh finishes soft and low, and then there is stillness. No one moves to fill the silence. No one feels the need. It's not awkward, it's not empty, it's full quiet, but full. The fire still crackles gently, its warmth humming against the old stone walls. A log shifts, breaking the silence for just a breath, then falling back into glowing coals. The dog by the door exhales in its sleep. The wind presses faintly against the tavern walls, like it's asking to come in but not insisting. You listen to nothing and everything. You hear your own breath, slow and steady. You feel the bench beneath you, the mug still warm in your hand. You notice how the light from the candle near you wavers, as if it's breathing too. No one rushes to speak. No one clears their throat or breaks the spell. The silence is shared, like bread. It is a gift that the room holds together without plan, without effort. You glance around. Heads are bowed slightly. Eyes watch the fire, or the bottom of a cup, or nothing at all. It is a moment out of time, a pause between thoughts, a space wide enough to rest in. And slowly, gently, like mist lifting, sound begins to return. A whisper, a cough, the clink of a cup. The room breathes in again. But for that one perfect stretch of quiet, it felt like the world had stopped turning, like the night had curled up and gone to sleep beside the fire, and you had been allowed to join it. There's no bell to mark the hour. No one calls out that it's time to leave, but something in the air shifts. The fire burns lower. The mugs on the tables are mostly empty. The stories have all been told, at least for tonight. You move slowly. There's no rush. You place both hands on the edge of the bench, feeling the smoothness where dozens of others have done the same. You stand, and the old wood creaks beneath you, as if it's sad to see you go. Your coat, now warmed by the fire, feels heavier as you pull it over your shoulders. The smells of the tavern cling to its smoke, bread, ale, and something you can't name, something like comfort. As you move toward the door, no one calls out farewell. But a few people glance up, a nod from the old man with the knife, a soft blink from the serving woman as she wipes a mug clean. Even the gray cat near the hearth opens one eye, then closes it again. It's not a grand goodbye. It's not meant to be. Just quiet acknowledgement you were here. You sat among them, you belonged. The door opens slowly with a heavy groan. The night outside rushes in, cool and damp, brushing your face like a curtain being pulled back. You step out onto the stone threshold. Behind you, the tavern holds its warmth. The fire, the stories, the soft candle lightle remain in place, untouched. You hesitate for just a moment. Then gently, you pull the door closed. The latch clicks, and the night folds around you again, waiting to walk with you. The door closes behind you with a soft thud, and the quiet is deeper now. The tavern's warmth lingers on your skin, in your clothes, in the spaces behind your eyes. But outside, the air is cold, again cooler than before, brushing against your cheeks like a whisper. You step carefully onto the path. The ground is uneven, still damp from the evening mist. The moon, though faint, peeks out now between scattered clouds, casting silver light on the stones ahead. Your boots crunch softly with each step, the only sound for a long while. The road is familiar, though darker. But you do not feel lost. You know your way now. Behind you, the little tavern glows like an ember in the night. Its small windows shine golden and steady. You can almost hear the fire crackling still, even from here. It's a place that will stay behind in your memory, quiet and solid, always there, even when you are far away. You walk on. A breeze stirs the trees nearby, making their bare branches rustle like parchment being turned. Somewhere in the distance, a night bird calls. The village remains silent, its cottages tucked beneath their thatched roofs like sleeping animals. You breathe in the night. It smells clean now of leaves, of earth, of the road stretching onward. The sky above holds more stars than you remembered. You walk slower, not because you're tired, but because you no longer feel the need to hurry. Something has shifted inside you. A quiet has taken hold. A stillness that came not from being alone, but from being part of something simple and good. And as you walk farther into the dark, you carry the light with you, the soft, glowing memory of a quiet evening in a medieval tavern.